Good evening. Right now, Metro Police are desperately searching for the person or people responsible for killing a man and a woman.
I got a male down in the middle of the street.
Breaking news now, a triple shooting leaves 2 dead.
Never expect for somebody to tell you your loved one was murdered.
This Labor Day will mark 42 years that have haunted the St. Cloud family.
30 years. 30 years this family has waited for answers.
A couple months go by, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you really start to struggle with the idea that the case might not get solved and that somebody might get away with murder.
It's very unfortunate that we have any cold cases at all, and certainly unfortunate that we have as many as we do. And that's why Ryan's work and the work of Project Cold Case is so important.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for joining me. I'm Ryan Backman, founder and executive director of Project Cold Case. Doing our weekly Facebook Live here, trying to touch base with our supporters and our families and try to come up with topics each week that keeps answer some questions and keeps our supporters engaged. And so that kind of segues me into today's topic, which is really about social media and engagement with social media. We get asked a lot of times how people can help. A lot of times, either when we're speaking publicly, people will raise their hand and ask how they can help Project Cold Case. We get emails from people that want to volunteer all the time. And regularly we have conversations with people that listen to true crime podcasts or religiously watch Investigation Discovery and feel like they have the skills necessary to help solve cold cases. And as most of you should know, we are not an investigation firm. Where our goal is to advocate for the families of these cases and to raise awareness for their loved ones' unsolved murders. So we always have the same response whenever we talk to anybody that's interested in helping us or our families, and that is share our social media posts. Follow us on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Engage with the posts that we have. And one of the things we've learned is that the reach we can gain with that engagement is based on people kind of doing more than just one thing. It's real easy to like a post on Facebook nowadays, and people do that, pretty effortlessly. But really what we need is people to like and share or comment and share or, more engagement and multiple layers of engagement. And that helps us reach the most people. And kind of, when we say that sharing on social media is the number one way that somebody can help us, sometimes we get a look of disappointment. But the reality is that may be the single most effective and simple way for people to help solve cold cases in this country. So we advocate for it. That's why we have a post every day through social media in some form or fashion. And with the algorithms, the engagement, the reach, all of these terms that none of us really can understand and have full comprehension of, we want to kind of break it down a little bit today and show it as it helps us, and kind of show that to you in a way that is broken down and categorized with hard numbers and quantified, if you will. So what does it all mean, and how can it help solve a case? Well, I want to go back to some of our social media posts that have been recent, and we've seen some interesting numbers and insights, and we want to share those with you and kind of again show how important it is to have that engagement. Every Friday we do a weekly recap post. If you haven't caught on to the trend yet, Friday is our day to collect all the images from the cases that have been submitted to us throughout the week, or recently that have been vetted, that we've confirmed or unsolved murders. We have a photo, and we create a post on Friday. And that post says these are the victims that are submitted to our website in the last week. It becomes our first opportunity to share those individuals' cases with our followers and supporters. Here's what that post looks like on social media. You've seen them. It's just our frames and our images. These are the same pictures that we put on our Faces of Unsolved Homicide page. And this is that first opportunity we have to raise awareness for the case. And it's also the first opportunity for the family to get involved and engage in those pictures. And we're going to talk to you today about how important that is. So this post was published on Friday. We do this every week. It had the 4 images that you see there, and I think there were 2 others. It says +4, but I think that's including our graphic and the one that you see kind of hidden there. So I think we try. Some weeks we have a bunch of these. Some weeks we don't have that many. So we try to limit it to kind of like 6 or so, 7 pictures, so that it doesn't get too overwhelming and that each victim has an opportunity to be looked at and shared. But this post in particular really took off. And we always look at these insights because we're always trying to figure out what we can do, what we did, what we didn't do, as a way to increase engagement and raise awareness. So when we got back into the office on Monday and we realized that this post itself had reached over 30,000 people, we started kind of trying to break that down and look at why. And one of the first things we noticed was that this post was shared by a number of the families and friends of the victims in these pictures. And particularly one victim that was shared, just an unbelievable number of times, was Brandy Hutchins. And here's her image. She was Brandy was 14 years old. She was killed in Coal Hill, Arkansas. She was found in the root cellar of an abandoned house in rural Arkansas. And when we started looking at, how many people were engaging with her picture, and you may be able to see it there on your screen, but her picture had been liked over 100 times. It had been commented on 85 times and had been shared over 350 times. So just for comparison, the city of Coal Hill, when I say we do some research on this stuff, we're trying to figure out ways to expand every single case. And one of the things we looked at was the population of Coal Hill, Arkansas. And at the time, actually 2 years after Brandy was killed in 1990, the population was less than 1,000 people in Coal Hill, Arkansas, and her picture had over 350 shares. So, and when we started going through the shares that we could see, it's a lot of people from Arkansas and in that area. It's a lot of families. She has a number of cousins that all shared it, and a lot of friends that remember it. That knew her, and they have all taken to social media to share her image and to try to generate a new tip or lead in Brandy's murder investigation. So again, kind of looking at these numbers, keep in mind there were 1,000 people in this small town where Brandy was killed in 1990. And over the weekend, 30,000 people saw her picture on Facebook. Okay, and going through those shares, we can see that most of those were in and around the area where the crime happened. So that's our goal, is to get this information back out there. It was interesting to read some of the comments. If you follow our Facebook page, you saw on Saturday we posted about internet silence and how some of these cases from the 80s and 90s and obviously before don't exist online. You can't Google anything about them. And Brandy was one of those cases that had very little information out there. And a lot of the shares of her picture said things like, I haven't seen her face since she was on the newspaper after being killed. I've waited years to see her case get some publicity. I mean, stories like that that show us that what we're doing is good and that we're helping people by sharing this information. We had a similar situation a few months back. We had another case that was submitted to us from another small area, rural West Virginia, and it was the case of Fame Cooper. And again, Fame was she was 14 years old and she went missing from her home in 1990. 4 months later, her skeletal remains were found in a cow pasture in Barackville, West Virginia, and the population there, when we went back and looked, was 1,443 people were in that area, living in that area at the time in 1990. And her picture was shared over 530 times back in November from this image. Just this one picture, this one post. And the post itself, the overall post, this was, again, one of our weekly recap posts. And the overall post was viewed over 53,000 times. So, that's the kind of impact. And what we're seeing is some of these smaller towns and rural areas in Arkansas and Virginia, West Virginia, Georgia, that their friends and family are sharing these posts at just a really amazing rate, and it's going to make a difference. The Fame Cooper case was one we keep in touch with the family. We've got some more things coming on that one. And they just were so surprised at how much publicity they were able to receive just from sharing and submitting her case to us back in November. And we're going through the same thing with Brandy Hutchins' case right now. I reached out to investigators yesterday and let them know, hey, look, this case is this picture is kind of taken off on our social media. If you guys are starting to get calls or messages about the case, we didn't want you to wonder where it was all coming from. We gave us an opportunity to explain Project Cold Case and what we do to law enforcement in that area, and they were thrilled. They thanked us for sharing the case. They were very appreciative, and they assured us that they will look at any calls that come in, any new leads or tips. We also reached out to some local media there in Arkansas to see if it was of interest to them to pick up the story. And we're still waiting to hear back. But this is how we get the beat going and get people to start paying attention to these cases. Another social media post that we did just yesterday. Again, you'll see a trend with our social media posts, and yesterday was our weekly spotlight. And so we posted a spotlight on Herbert Donnell Scott, who went by Don, and he was murdered in Ackworth, Georgia, back in, what was it, Clint? Was it 90 or 80? I can't see. 85. Yeah, he was killed in 85. And so, again, did some research on that one. Just, in less than 24 hours, it has, just a few comments, 27 reactions, but it had been shared over 100 times. And again, this was all by family. We put the post out there once. We share it on our Facebook, and then it's really up to the family and friends of these victims to kind of push the narrative and make sure that we reach as many people as possible. And that's what happened again yesterday. And it's already over 8,000 reach. And again, in a small town in Georgia where the population was 4,000 in 1985. So we've reached double the amount of people that even lived in that area at that time. And I think, what I want to express and the importance of that is that, we don't have to reach 8,000. We don't have to reach 30,000. We don't have to reach 50,000. We need to reach one, but we may have to go through all of those other people to reach that one that has information that can lead to answers for the family and justice for the victim. And that's, become one of our big goals here at Project Cold Case, is to share that information, get it out there in hopes that it generates one lead, one tip, one new bit of information that law enforcement can use in the investigation. With Don Scott there, the one that we shared, this has also evolved into an opportunity for us to create better spotlights on our website so that families can continue to share it. Just because we shared it yesterday, in a couple weeks, in a couple months, if the family wants to share that story again, they now have a place on our website where that information is archived. And so if you've looked at our homepage, if you go to our homepage, projectcoldcase.org, not Facebook, not social media, believe it or not, there are still websites out there that are valuable, even though people don't use them often. We like to have all of our information in the palm of our hand. But our website features these spotlights, and the last 3 that we've done are right there on the homepage, so that you can click and read more about them. A lot of stuff on our website that is really valuable to the families. And now our new spotlights gives you an opportunity. We have the spotlight that is typically written with a partnership between us and the University of North Florida and their communication students in their journalism class, but it gives us an opportunity to put newspaper clippings, photos of the victim throughout their life, not just the last one. If there are any news stories or videos that have been done, we can add that to the page. We have our narrative, and then at the bottom of each of these is a research and impact section that allows us to go into more detail about some of the facts about living with an unsolved murder, law enforcement, investigative tactics, things that are a lot of the questions that we get, and we try to relate them back to the spotlight that we have featured that week. But these are a great opportunity to educate yourself and learn more. Again, all of our case spotlights are at the very top of the page. You can see the case spotlights along that top ribbon. And each one of those we can add to, so we add more pictures of the victim, again, throughout their entire life, not just the age they were when they died or when they were killed. And it really allows the family then to be able to share that at any time. They can just go up to the top into the address bar, right click, copy, and share it via social media or anywhere else. There's our case spotlights. If you click on that tab, there's all the spotlights that we've done up to this point. We try to do one a week. We recognize that one a week it'll take us forever just to get through the cases that we currently have, much less the ones that keep coming in. So we're working on efforts to double at least the number of spotlights that we do a week. We're looking at doing some special weeks where we may do 5 cases in a whole week. And dedicate an entire week to a specific demographic, whether it be children, whether it be elderly, whether it be from one geographic location or another, whether it be cases that were solved, unsolved, that have been spotlighted in the local media. Whatever it is, we're going to look at ways to share those stories and continue to have spotlights on our page so that they're always there and they're available. And I don't want to get too much into this today, but I've already mentioned the internet silence and the fact that a lot of our cases don't exist online. And what we do when we create those spotlights is now they are forever archived on the World Wide Web, and they exist. And now if somebody is looking for one of their loved ones, or if they're looking, they have information on a case, when they Google a name, now something shows up, and it's something tangible that they can look at, read, share. Information on who to contact with information is available. Information on where, when, and what happened is available. And then we make it more personable. We show that these victims were people. They were loved ones. They weren't just numbers. They weren't just, people that are forgotten and that no one cares about then or cares about now. Each of them has a family. Each of them is loved, and each of them deserves justice. So those are our ultimate goals. And kind of one of the last things I want to touch on specifically about this and how important it is how does it translate into solving cold cases? Well, just in the last few weeks, we have personally received 3 correspondence, whether it be email, social media message, telephone call, whatever, from individuals who have information on cases. And so our goal is obviously to get that into the right hands, to the right people, and hope that it ultimately leads to an arrest and a conviction and answers for the family. But that's how important it is when we share this, and we know that's something we have no control over if the person with information is going to see it. But all we can do is keep sharing it. All we can ask is that friends, family, and supporters keep sharing these stories in hopes that we do reach that one person that is willing to come forward and we get some answers in some of these cases. We'd love to answer any of the questions you have. Please feel free to comment on the post. This will be up on our Facebook page. We'll also save it to our YouTube page. We're always open and willing to answer any questions that people may have on, best practices and guidelines for sharing your loved one's case, for creating a justice page for your loved one. We love to help. We want to thank the people that continuously share our stories. There's a handful, 2 handfuls, a dozen people or so that are really consistent with sharing. No matter what we post, they share it. They share it to their groups, and we really appreciate that. That really is what makes the difference and what sets us apart from other groups that are just sharing one individual's picture or one individual's story, or that don't have contact with family and they're just sharing stories of cold cases. Each one of these faces that you see, each one of these cases that you read about, we have a connection with that family, and we have lines of communication with that family. And so we have a vested interest in seeing those cases solved. So again, thanks to those that continue to share and watch these Facebook Lives and participate in what we're doing. We really are making a difference, and it's something we're really excited about. The progress and the growth and continuing to reach more people, and finding different ways to do that. So, that's what we're constantly behind the scenes trying to do. How can we reach the most people? And we felt like it was important to get out here and share that, we can do a little, but then with the help of you watching this, then we can do a lot. And so we're all working together here for the same common good and goal. And we appreciate all your support in doing that. Let's see. Just kind of, in closing today, not a long Facebook Live today, but a very important one. But I also wanted to share, we've had, a number of people comment and ask about some of the things that were product line that Project Cold Case has. This is the Project Cold Case Strawberry Rhubarb Jam from Hobie's Honey and General Store. It's a Amish jam that was made specifically for Hobie's, and he labeled it specifically for Project Cold Case, where proceeds come to us. We have these jars in our office. We have strawberry rhubarb jam and apple butter are the 2 flavors that we have, products that we have. Those are available for $10 a jar in our office. Shipping is an issue with these things. So, It can be done. We haven't really figured out the best way to do it. But if anybody locally is interested in that, be sure to reach out to our office. We have those jars available. We also have, for our coffee drinkers, we still have Justice Blend Coffee, which was our partnership with Social Grounds Coffee Company on Main Street here in Jacksonville. Smells good. It's whole bean. It needs to be ground. If you're local, they will grind it at Social Grounds free of charge. We can actually run up there and grind a few bags if you give us a heads up and let us know that you're coming for it. Those are $20 a piece, and that helps not only Project Cold Case with our resources and services, but it also helps veterans in need here in Jacksonville. So that's what Social Grounds does with their business, is help veterans. So if you're interested in either one of those products, reach out to our office and let us know. Keep an eye on our Facebook page. Start to understand the pattern that we have, with Mondays being our spotlight, Tuesdays is our Facebook Live, Fridays is our weekly recap. And then we also we keep space in there to be able to share timely, notable cold case events and stories. And kind of what we're doing along the way. So, but please continue to watch and support and share. We thank you for all that you do. We thank you for watching today. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments. We'll reach out. We'll respond. Go to our website, projectcoldcase.org. Follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And together we're going to reach the right people, and we will make a difference, and we'll get some of these cases solved. We got the remembrances coming up, so watch this to see this week's weekly remembrances. We've had so many new cases coming in that sometimes we have to add victims to these remembrances at the last second. The remembrance video is another one that we do weekly. We do it. It posts on Sunday, but it's usually put together and scheduled throughout the week. So sometimes the case comes in that we didn't get there in the remembrance video in time. We do have time to actually add it for this one at the end of our Facebook Lives. And if you ever do see that we've missed something, please don't hesitate to reach out. We promise that it's not on purpose. We have a lot that we try to handle with a limited staff and resources, and sometimes things do slip between the cracks, but I promise it's not on purpose by any means, and we will fix it and make sure that your loved one's case is updated and all the information is correct. Thanks again for watching. Join us again next week, and we'll touch on another topic. Thanks a lot. See you next week.